Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back here to Light to the Nations in this new Shabbat, this new day, this new week. Why are you laughing?
No,
Because
I was just reading the title.
I thought that you were laughing because I'm so loud.
Yeah,
That's
and you are
right.
so happy. You're so happy.
It's so good to be with you once again, to be here in this Shabbat. In the continuation of the study of the book of First King, we were just reading the chat over here. Is such a blessing to have you, all of you here, connected with us in this. I think it's a good study. In this different study, it's not the normal cycle that we're doing now, and a study, complementing everything we have been learning throughout the years and seeing it directly together in the word of YaHuWaH. And thank you, Corina. Thank you, Jimmy and Marisabel. Thank you, everyone, that for your greetings and so on, and for being here.
Camila.
So I see Camila connected too. So it's, as I said, it's a blessing to have all of you here. 17 of you connected here. It's a small mishpacha, but with such love, a big heart, and that's the most important. Is that that we are able to grow together by studying the word of YaHuWaH. That we are preparing ourselves for what's coming, preparing the ground for the return of our King, the Mashiach, our Melech, Yahushua. You're still with the caffeine, still with allergies, but you are improving, right?
Yeah, I'm improving.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm waiting until when Mashiach is going to return. He's going to take all our weaknesses, sickness, everything away. So I'm waiting for that day, and maybe that's why we are having some kind of issues. So we have to increase our hope and our emunah, our faith.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we really hope that you have been having a wonderful Shabbat, that any situation that you went through the week in your different responsibilities is in the past, and now that we are enjoying together this day of rest, connecting ourselves with the word of YaHuWaH, connecting ourselves with his presence. As we always say, in these gatherings, we invite the Ruach of Elohim to join us, to guide us in everything we say and everything we do. And the most important thing, as Moshe said to YaHuWaH, if his presence is not with us, we are not willing to move on, because without him we are nothing. So we invite the presence of YaHuWaH Elohim to be with us, connecting us, even though that we are totally far away, each one of us, in different places and locations in this world, that we are one, we are echad in him. So that's the spirit, and that's the mood, and that's exactly what we invite the YaHuWaH in this time and in every Shabbat. So anything else you want to share before we continue with the study?
Well,
we have a wonderful discussion actually with my brother-in-law that he was here for a few minutes. And this is something that we have been discussing with my daughter for a while. There's something that YaHuWaH is doing, right?
Doing
you want to share that?
Around the world, that we are seeing that from different places, a lot of people, even now, some scales are being removed from their eyes. So they are seeing, I don't know how many years that they were only considering maybe how we know the New Testament, and they were not seeing all the truth, all the instruction, all the base on the Torah. But now they are seeing, and they are
little by little,
and that's something really nice. And I don't know, it was like they are, and it's so funny because maybe you were trying to share this with them in the past, and I was thinking that maybe when he was saying, "Oh, now I can understand," and I was touched by this, and
it's inevitable to think on that. I also came to my mind, but that's the moment we need to fight back and push back on the ego. Because it's YaHuWaH.
It was not for you to share that, and maybe
we seen the seed. We sown the seed.
So maybe now, and that's why I was telling you the last week, maybe sometimes it's so true and it's so important when Yahushua was saying, you are not prophet in your own land, in your own house. Maybe they're going to listen, but by somebody else.
Absolutely.
But the important thing is that YaHuWaH is using different instruments to wake all his flock.
That's what I think we talked about this in the past. And I think there was a kind of conversation we had with Karen in our last trip to the States, and we mentioned here in one of the broadcasts. It's a little bit discouraging when we don't see results of our efforts. But if we are discouraged, it's because we are focusing in ourselves instead of focusing
in the way that
him.
YaHuWaH has to do
It's not our effort. It's not us the one doing it. It doesn't belong to us. We are just servants. We are instruments. So that's why we need to push back in any thought that somehow is putting us in the situation that we own something, because we own nothing. And I'm not talking about the wave and that we will be happy. We own nothing and we will be happy. That's a totally different mindset. I'm saying that we're just instruments, and we need to be so happy to see that maybe the efforts you did in the past by sowing the seed, maybe somebody else was watering the soil in order for the seed to grow into a plant, into a tree. And this is exactly what's going on. And so if you have been doing similar things and you have not seen results, keep praying, keep waiting. And don't put the focus on that, just continue serving YaHuWaH. And even when you forget that you sown a seed, you will see the results as what we are seeing now. My daughter is joining a church. And I was okay for her to join a church a few years ago, and because it's much better for her to be closer to the truth than to being in the world. And you can ask, you can think about how come, she's going to a church and she's going to receive a different type of teaching. I grew up in a church, and here I am. YaHuWaH was compassionate on me, and he awoke me to his truth and continue learning his truth. So it's better to be closer to YaHuWaH than being far away in the world. And she was the one sharing with us a week or 2 weeks ago that she went to a conference, and there was this Brazilian brother preacher that he was teaching about the feast of YaHuWaH.
And to different kind of churches.
Different churches, evangelical churches that they were joining to this conference. And he was teaching about the feast of YaHuWaH. So can you imagine?
And using the name of YaHuWaH.
Yes, and then using Yeshua instead of Yahushua or Yahusha. But that's the beauty of all of this, is that YaHuWaH somehow is doing something in these last days, is that he's awakening more people little by little. And that, for me, is a new confirmation that we are living on those days that he is awakening the hearts of his people in order to do teshuvah and to return to him, to his true path. He did it with all of us that we are here. He did it with a lot of people that we know in this process. I was going to say that this movement, but it's more than a movement. It's something that is a process that he's awakening his people. And he's speeding up now. And people at church, they are able to have their eyes open little by little to see the truth.
He's showing his truth, and that's something beautiful. And he's doing at a pace and in a speed that everybody could feel that they are moving forward. And I think that is what is important. So
I'm gonna share something that came to my mind a few months ago. And I think that should be our mindset. And let me put it in an example. Sometimes, and most probably some of you have heard about this. It's about this pushback on the Jews, Judaism, and I'm not gonna defend Judaism. Don't worry about it. But is that they are not following the true path, they are following traditions and so on. And some people are pushing so bad and not opening doors for them. That's not the mindset. We need to be compassionate. What Yahushua did, he was fighting back with the Pharisees on that time because they were the leaders and they were leading the people astray. But he was compassionate with the people that needed a physician, the sick, the people, the poor. Basically, he was pushing on the leaders, but he was compassionate for the rest in order to receive the truth. So this example was going on with the Jews in general. Sometimes we have exactly the same behavior and the same mood and the same attitude with people at church. With people at church. Because we came out of church, sometimes we look at people at church like they are so in darkness, they are so mistaken and they're going so astray. You know, it's just a matter for us to look back and to understand that we came from there. And we came from there not because of us. As YaHuWaH was saying to Israel, you know, I chose you not because you were the biggest and the greatest of the people, because of my covenant with Abraham. He did it because he was compassionate toward Israel. And he did it the same with us because he was compassionate toward us. So when we look people at church, we need to look at them with eyes of compassion, trying to reach them to the entire truth. So maybe we are not going to see the results, but we need to try, we need to invite them, we need to share with them. And you know, the thought that came to my mind in the past is that maybe, why not? We should try to reach out to them. We should try to invite them. We should try to talk to them. How? I don't know. It's just the Ruach of Elohim that should guide us as always. But we should not forget them. Because, you know, they are even closer than the rest of the world, that they don't even believe in an Elohim. They are so beautiful people that they have a true heart for YaHuWaH. But for some reason, YaHuWaH has not opened their eyes yet. And maybe the only reason that he opened your eyes and our eyes is because we need to prepare the ground and help them to come to the knowledge of the truth. So, food for thoughts and food for praying to see what YaHuWaH wants from each one of us. So, let's move on.
Yeah.
We usually like to read the portion and to prepare something. Today, we didn't have the chance to do it.
Yeah. We were trying, but
we are relying 100% in the Ruach of Elohim to guide us in the study today. So pray for this study, as we always do, so that we can see what YaHuWaH wants to show us. So if you have, as I said, always, if you have some things to share about this study, about these 2 chapters, let's go ahead, put your comments. All of us, we're servants. There are no teachers here. There are not the leaders here. We have just one leader, one teacher, one king, that's Yahushua HaMashiach. So in the same way that he's revealing things to us, it's also revealing things to you. So take the chance to put your comments about the study in the chat. And it's
trying to explain something. Yeah. What happened?
Yes, taking a look in the chat.
Okay,
I was taking a look in what Camila said and the experience at church. That's just very beautiful. I by the way, Camila, I don't know if I told you or I told you to tell her. I think there was something on that situation you were going through, and I think you needed to go. It's something that YaHuWaH is preparing you to do in that place. And then maybe that's why I'm talking what I said a few minutes ago. It's not only for you, it's for us, for everyone here. So, and maybe we are gonna touch base on that one in the portion today, because I remember somehow the portion. So maybe we are going to touch base some of it today. So let's move on. We have a song to share with you.
What is the name of the portion?
The name of the portion is
Mah Lekha Po.
let's see, because I didn't my homework. Sorry for that. It's Mah Lekha Po.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Mm.
Oof, that's a question we need to ask ourselves all the time.
What
What
are
are
we
we doing
doing
here? What are we doing here? Hiding,
Mm.
running away.
No, we're not running away. We're not hiding.
Sometimes we're hiding.
Mm.
Sometimes we are running away because sometimes we don't want to take responsibilities.
Mm.
Sometimes we don't want to be up front, taking the lead. Though we are not the leader. We are leaders. We are not the leader. We all report to the leader. That's the Mashiach. Okay? So let's move on. Let me share this song with you, and we'll have plenty of time to discuss. Okay? If we need to be 5 hours here, we can be 5 hours. Kids can have lunch by themselves.
By themselves.
Okay? So let me share this song with you. Here we go. Let's close our eyes and let's pray together. YaHuWaH Sabaoth, YaHuWaH Elohim. We want to give thanks to you for this new Shabbat. We want to give thanks to you because you are giving us once again the opportunity to gather together virtually, though we are in different places of this world that belongs to you. We are here through this platform in order to seek your face, in order to seek your truth, asking you to guide us in the study of your word. You can teach us your ways. You can open our eyes to what you want to show us. Thank you, Abba, because you restored the joy in our hearts, because you restored our hearts completely. And as the song was saying, we want to lift our hearts to you, to your Son YaHuWaH HaMashiach, who is coming soon to restore all things. Thank you, Abba, for the people here joining us today, for our brothers and sisters. We want to ask your so much blessings, and many blessings in each one of them. Guide us in everything we do. Prepare us for the times that is coming ahead in order to serve you with all our hearts, with all our intention of our beings. Asking you always to guide us in your purposes, to guide us in your will, that we can recognize and acknowledge that you are the one doing everything. We are just servants and instruments in your hands. And we want to be those servants. We want to be those instruments, so you can bring your truth, you can bring your righteousness, in order that you can prepare the ground through us for the soon return of your Son YaHuWaH HaMashiach. I want to ask you to touch those that are in sickness, that you can bring healing, that you can bring restoration of those hearts that are being hurt, that you can bring righteousness on those places where there's no righteousness, that you can bring light to those places where it's darkness, and we can be that light to the world, as your Son YaHuWaH was saying, that we are that light of the world. Our hearts is beating for you. You are the one giving us life. And we ask you, that your presence be among us in this time. We ask you, that you can make us grow in your truth, but not only knowledge, most importantly, in action, that we can do, not only believe and think and learn, that we can do your will, that we can do serve you in truth. Send us to the field. We are here, O YaHuWaH, with a willing heart to be sent by you to serve you in the battlefield, to serve you in your vineyard. And we want to follow you completely. Restore our hearts, O YaHuWaH. Restore our emunah and increase it. So we can guide those that are still doubting. And we can be that flag, that banner, in the same way that your Son YaHuWaH is and will be a banner for the people of the world. Thank you for your Ruach HaKodesh, YaHuWaH, that I know that is here with us. Thank you because we can feel your presence in our hearts. And because we can feel that we are Echad in you. We praise your name. And we worship you, the only true Elohim, the creator of the heavens and the earth. You are our Elohim, and we belong to you. We lift out our voices and our hands to you in worship as an our sending offering. Guide us in everything we are going to say now, that you are the one speaking through us. That your Ruach can put your words in our hearts and in our mouth, so we can learn from you, YaHuWaH Sabaoth. Thank you, Allah. We pray to you with our hearts, and we love you with all our being. And we pray to you, Allah, in the mighty name of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, our Melech, our King. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's move on. So let me share the screen, and I'm going to read the chapter 19,
No,
and you're going to read the chapter 20.
no,
No?
even 19 is shorter.
Okay, it's shorter, so I'm going to, just because you are, it's more difficult for you to speak, I'm going to give you the chance to read the shorter one. Okay? Okay. So let's move on. Chapter 19 and chapter 20 of the book of First Kings. The portion is called,
What are you doing here?
and in Hebrew,
Uh,
you forgot, Mah Lekha Po.
Mah Lekha Po.
What are you doing here? So
Mah Lekha Po.
let's move on.
We are in the time of Ahab. He is the king.
He is the king, and we, in continuation of what we
Yeah.
reviewed last week, after this
Yeah.
showdown of Eliyahu bringing and asking YaHuWaH to bring fire from
Decide who
heaven,
you are going to follow.
exactly, and just to open the eyes of the people, and even removing with the sword
Yeah.
the prophets of Baal, that they were leading astray the people. This is what happened after that.
Yeah, that's a continuation.
That's the continuation of the story. And it's a 180-degree change of what we saw last week in the attitude and the heart of Eliyahu to what we are going to see now.
Yeah.
And this is something that we need to reflect in ourselves. Sometimes we're going through that situation. I can tell you I'm going through that situation sometimes more often than I would like. And I think that's something that all of us sometimes we go through that internal fight. So let's move on.
Yeah. And when Ahab reported to Isabel all that Eliyahu had done, also how he slew all the prophets with the sword, Isabel sent a messenger to Eliyahu saying, do you want to say something?
No, I was just reading the comments. You want to say
Good.
something?
No. Then saying, so let the mighty ones do to me and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. Wow. She was very...
Actually, she was in charge. This is what the only thing that we were able to discuss before the broadcast is that Isabel or Jezebel was in charge of the kingdom.
Yeah.
This is simple like that. Because it's just a matter to read the first verse. It says, when Ahab reported to Isabel. So it's a kind of...
not like share with
with Isabel, inform
yes,
Isabel, told her, and so on.
Yeah.
Reported. It's like, when in my job, sometimes I need to create a report
by
and to
this
report to
person.
my boss to what's going on.
Is always related with kind of hierarchy.
So it's Jezebel, she was the boss.
Yeah,
She was the boss, and she was the one making the decisions, and actually she was the one threatening the man of Elohim, Eliyahu.
Yeah, directly. Yeah.
And actually we were reading last week is that she was the one in charge and taking the 400 prophets of Baal and the 450 prophets of Asherah and feeding them.
Yeah. So the connection and all the public relation was being made by her.
All of them, all the idolatry were under her control. And she was the one killing the prophets of YaHuWaH. So prophetically speaking, this interesting picture actually is an interesting foreshadow of the whore of Babylon.
Yeah.
Killing the prophets.
Yeah.
And we know that the whore of Babylon, the mystery Babylon is Jerusalem, it's a woman. And we see it here clearly what's going on. It's just, taking idolatry and leading and pushing idolatry to the people of YaHuWaH, and somehow contaminating the entire world, and also persecuting the true believers, the ones that are seeking the face of YaHuWaH. And that's why, in the book of Revelation, it's also speaking about that. Actually, maybe we should go there.
Yeah. And also maybe go to Genesis, to Bereshit, where
Where?
it says to the woman that the fight that she was going to have during her life is that she always wanted to have like that kind of dominion over the man. So we have to be very careful about that, because we are a complement, we are the help, we are not less, we are not more, we are a help.
Yes.
But that is a spirit,
A helper.
Yeah.
So to work together.
Yeah.
Not to be above, not to be below, is to work together. Something different is the responsibilities.
Yeah.
YaHuWaH has given bigger responsibilities to men in order to provide coverage, in order to protect. But that doesn't mean that this is going to be in, and unfortunately that has been happening throughout history, is that is to put a foot over the woman.
Yeah. And
that's totally wrong.
And what is happening now in the world is that like talking in general, like women have felt that they need to do all the movement in the opposite direction.
Yes.
And that's
why
bad,
the world
because
is upside down.
That is taken to this situation.
Yes. So in the book of Revelation, it says, we will go to the Bereshit. I don't know if I have done it in the past, but when I was studying this many years ago, and I was reading this comment in a study from somebody else, it was really interesting because the comparison. And maybe we did it when we were doing Bereshit, the Torah cycle. Maybe we comment on this, but let's refresh it anyways. So to the 7 assemblies in the book of Revelation, it's talking about Isabel. It's talking about Jezebel. And it is here to the assembly of Thyatira. It says, this said the son of Elohim in the verse 18, who has eyes like a flame of fire and his feet like burnished brass. I know your works and love and service and belief and your endurance. And as for your works, the last are more than the first. But I hold against you that you allow that woman Isabel, who calls herself a prophetess, to teach and lead my servants astray, to commit whoring and to eat food offered to idols. And it's exactly what the Isabel that we're reading about was doing in the house of Israel, in the northern kingdom. And I gave her time to repent of her whoring, and she did not repent. See, I am throwing her into a sickbed, and those who commit adultery with her into great affliction, unless they repent of their works. And I shall slay her children with death, and all the assemblies shall know that I am the one searching the kidneys and hearts, and I shall give to each one of you according to your works. So I think it's just a matter to understand what Isabel was doing, that she was in charge, she was the boss, and she was leading the idolatry astray, pushing idolatry to the house of Israel and protecting idolatry.
And I don't know if I'm wrong about this, what I'm going to say, but I think that in most of the cases is usually the woman who is like taking care of the tradition of the things, how the house is being run. And I think that maybe that is something that could be like very fragile if we compare that, because if the woman is being led astray, she's going to open that door and all the house is going to be led astray.
Exactly.
So we have to be very careful about that.
So maybe sometimes you have heard about the spirit of Jezebel. And I think those are truly evil spirits that somehow are messing up with people in order to put them and to make them think in different ways than the righteousness of YaHuWaH. As you said, we have different responsibilities. It's not that the one is more important than the other, but we need to respect the order that YaHuWaH has set. If we don't respect that order, at the end we are opening the doors for those type of spirits in order to mess up with everything and with everybody. So just I came to the point in Bereshit you mentioned, and this is the curse over the woman. And I'm quite sure that we talk about this in the past. And it is here when the during the fall, and the curse over the Nahash, over the man, and over the woman. To the woman, YaHuWaH said, to the woman he said in the verse 16 of the chapter 3 of Bereshit Genesis, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception, bring forth children in pain. But the point, and this is a kind of
translation, maybe.
It's not a translation, but it's a kind of a riddle.
Yeah.
It's a riddle to understand what he's talking, because part of the curse, it says, and your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you. So it's a curse that the desire of a woman is for her husband. How can we understand that that's a curse? It shouldn't be a curse. It's not something bad that the woman wants to be with her man.
But is the desire concerning to what is that desire?
Yes.
And when we read this, comparing with
the story of Cain, and this is in the chapter 4, I think,
Yeah.
and this is exactly what we understand what he's talking about. It is.
I think that is in the.
Yes. Here it is. When YaHuWaH talked to Cain, it says in the verse 6 of chapter 4, and YaHuWaH said to Cain, why is he wroth towards you? And why is your face fallen? Is it not if you do good, you are to be accepted? Okay, it's true. And if you do not do good, towards the door is sin. So if we're doing something wrong, we're not doing good, we're doing wrong. Sin is at the door.
Yeah,
That's
it's
exactly
going
what
to
he's
be
saying.
there waiting.
He's lying, and towards you is his desire. He's talking about sin. Sin is waiting, laying in wait at the door, and the desire of sin is toward us.
But it's
toward you.
To be dominant.
And it
over
says,
you.
and you must rule over him.
Yeah, because
We
he
need
wants
to
to
rule
possess
over
you.
sin.
He wants to.
So sin wants to be in control. He wants to possess you.
Yeah.
But you need to rule over sin and to cast it away.
And I think that is the relation with the woman.
So
That
it's
is-
part of curse that if we connect the two passages, is that there's something in woman. It's part of the curse.
Yeah.
And this is
It's not
the
the
way to
physical
understand it.
desire
It's
of
not the physical
wanting
desire.
somebody. It's the desire to control the
Control.
other people, the other
Control.
person.
So, but it says that but he will rule over you. So we see the connection with the evil spirit. Is more than, it's not that it's evil. It's demon possessed.
Yeah.
It could be, but it's something that is in the flesh. It's part of sin. It's part of the curse, and that's why we need to understand that the order that YaHuWaH has said everything. If we are in that order of things, it's gonna be much easier for us to push back on sin, not for sin to rule over us, and to continue in a Kodesh relationship, in a Kodesh, in a set apart order. That is the order of the kingdom. So why we came to this point is because we see totally the opposite in case of Isabel and Ahab. Isabel was the one controlling Ahab. Ahab was a kind of puppet. Though that everybody was seeing that he was the king,
Yeah,
behind the scene, the deep state
was
Isabel.
in her hands.
Okay? So let's go back. 19. So she sent a messenger to Eliyahu with this threatening him.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you, basically.
Yeah,
She was saying.
yeah.
In the same way that I killed everybody else, in the same way you kill my prophets,
you're going
I'm
to-
going to kill you. And if I don't do it, you know that there's something
Even
even worse is happening to me.
And he feared, and rose up and ran for his life, and went to Beersheba, which belonged to Yehuda, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a broom tree, and prayed that he might die, and said, It is enough. Now, YaHuWaH, take my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And I don't know, maybe sometimes we have been in that kind of position that we are having a very huge problem or tribulation. I'm talking about myself, but I remember that I was asking once that please take my life because I don't want to be in this position anymore. And that is showing us that he, being a man of YaHuWaH, he being a prophet, he was feeling the same. And it's sad. And it's sad that we have been, maybe some of you have been in that position too, but it's sad that we have arrived to that point, but the only help that we are going to have is YaHuWaH. So I think that even though it's sad, the situation, he was honest enough to say, I need you, because what I'm going to do, I cannot do anything. It's only you. Well, I'm going to continue.
Actually, it's very difficult to understand, after all this mighty demonstration.
Yeah, because he was
of the power of YaHuWaH with him.
I'm having YaHuWaH by my side.
He received this threat, and he was on fear.
Yeah.
Full of fear. To the point that he was running away and he wanted to die. So that's the battle.
The
internal battle, the battle of the mind, is where is the first of the battles is within us. Is we are going to remain strong, even when we are able to see with our eyes and experience with our senses the mighty power of YaHuWaH. We are so vulnerable to the internal battle. Is that is when we need to be strong the most. So it doesn't matter to be strong enough. Actually, there is a proverb in Michelet that is talking about that a man is mightier. I'm going to paraphrase. Mightier, the one that is controlling his spirit, than the one that is conquering a city.
Yeah.
So that's why, it's the strength we need to look for. It's not the physical strength. It's the internal strength. And the fight is not our fight. It's not by power. It's not by mind. It's by the Ruach of Elohim. So if we are with the Ruach of Elohim, we are going to be strong enough. But it doesn't mean that we are going to go through situations that sometimes we are going to fall.
Yeah.
And maybe we're going to fall even often than we want. But in those times when we need to
cry out to Allah.
To retreat maybe a little bit, to cry out to Allah. And in the way that we need to cry out, I think is exactly what we see Eliyahu doing. Allah, I want to die. Kill me. I want to die. This is the way that I feel. Even Moshe was saying the same.
Yep.
Yes, everybody was saying, kill me, please kill me. They were so in desperation that they wanted to die. And that's the way, if we're feeling in that way, that's the way we need to talk to him. We need to express what is going on inside us. And when we're able to speak up and to let it out, what is inside us, is the moment that we are basically telling, okay, take control.
Yeah, we're extending our hands so
Yes.
he can pick us up. And he lay and slept under a broom tree, and see a messenger touch him and said to him, rise, eat. And he looked and saw by his head a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and turned and lay down. And the messenger of YaHuWaH came back the second time and touched him and said, rise, eat, for the journey is too much for you. Wow.
But there's something interesting. The messenger of YaHuWaH is saying the journey, he was acknowledging that he was going to have a journey.
Yeah.
So.
And he's telling, and he was very truthful. He was telling you, it's going to be too much for you, so please be prepared.
Correct.
So we have to be prepared. And?
No, that's the point. That we believe that he was, or Eliyahu was believing that he was running away. And he was running away because of fear. But the messenger didn't say, stop. Where are you going? The messengers came to bring some food to make him physically strong. And he was acknowledging your journey is going to be long. It's going to be difficult for you.
You have to move. This is not the end.
He was not saying, where are you going? Come on, go back, fight back. He was acknowledging, okay, you are going away. Your journey is going to be difficult.
And he rose up and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights, as far as Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. And there he went into a cave and spent the night there. And see, the word of YaHuWaH came to him and said to him, "What are you doing here, Eliyahu?"
Mah Lekha Po, Eliyahu.
And he said, "I have been very jealous for YaHuWaH Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places, and they have killed your prophets with the sword. And I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it."
You see, if we truly believe that the word of YaHuWaH that's written there is Mashiach, we could paraphrase and say that, Mashiach came to Eliyahu and he was asking, "What are you doing here?" That's a beautiful picture. And Eliyahu talking to Mashiach, saying, "I have been very jealous of YaHuWaH. I have been doing this, and they're seeking my life now." How often is Yahushua speaking to all of us when we are in a similar situation? The word of YaHuWaH, Mashiach, coming to us and asking, "What are you doing here? Why are you feeling in this way? Why you are letting all of this situation to stop you, to make a toil?" So I think when we realize that the word of YaHuWaH is Mashiach, Mashiach is speaking to us as well. He's alive. He is speaking through the Ruach of Elohim, because he said, it's better for me to go up, because if I do that, the Father will send a helper that is coming from me in order to guide you, and he will remind you of all things. And that helper is the Ruach of Elohim. So every time that Yahushua is speaking to us, he's doing it through the Ruach of Elohim. Okay?
And he said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before YaHuWaH and see." YaHuWaH passed by, and a great and a strong wind tearing the mountains and breaking the rock in pieces before YaHuWaH. YaHuWaH was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. YaHuWaH was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. YaHuWaH was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it came to be, when Eliyahu heard it, that he wrapped his face in his robe. It's interesting. He was protecting. I think that is because of the smoke, because it was a very huge fire. He was protecting everything. And went out and stood at the cave opening. And see, a voice came to him and said, "What are you doing here, Eliyahu?" Again, the same question.
I remember when I was preparing the portions for this book, and I came to this point, it came a picture to my mind, church. I don't remember what was my age, maybe a teenager or something like that. And my dad preaching a sermon on this one. And so it was a beautiful moment. I still remember, because it was something very strong that we felt with the manifestation of the presence of YaHuWaH in that moment. And I don't recall exactly the sermon, but it's just a matter to read what is written here. Sometimes we are waiting for a mighty manifestation of the power of YaHuWaH. Let's understand that Eliyahu just saw YaHuWaH manifesting his power through fire. He could understand when he saw the fire, this is YaHuWaH, the one that is speaking to me. But he understood that YaHuWaH was not in the fire. So sometimes we set our minds and our expectations to have these mighty things, mighty according to our understanding and our eyes, when sometimes he's speaking to us with a small voice, quiet. You see, and especially, depending on what's going on inside. If we compare the two situations in the chapter 18 and chapter 19, in the chapter 18, Eliyahu was so empowered to bring righteousness because he was sent by YaHuWaH to bring this righteousness. And he was so prepared in order to see this mighty manifestation, understanding that in that way YaHuWaH was showing himself up. But in this case, he was full of fear. It wasn't the moment for him to see YaHuWaH manifesting to him with might, with power. He needed comfort. He needed a hand touching him and calming him to bring some peace, some calm to his heart.
Calm him down.
Calm him down. Thank you. So, and this is exactly what's happening. So YaHuWaH will speak to us according to what we need. He's going to open our eyes depending on where we are. Maybe we are not prepared in order to have the full eyes open to certain topic. Maybe we are not full prepared in order to digest certain food. Maybe we need the small, still voice in order for us to open our hearts, in order for us to let him in. You know, Yahushua is saying in the book of Revelation that he's at the door, he's knocking. He's waiting for us to open the heart, for him to go in with the Father and to have dinner with us, is to partake time with us. So, and I think that this picture, what's going on, is something that all of us are going through time to time. And is the moment is when we need to realize that we need to open the door of our hearts and to let him in. And he's going to restore us in the same way that he's restoring Eliyahu.
Why do you think that he decided to put the robe on his head? What that could represent? I don't know, maybe it's the first thing that we need to protect, because here with this we see, we have food, we hear. Is that maybe the first thing that could be attacked or receive an attack from the enemy?
I'm going to tell you what the first thing that came to me when you asked the question.
Okay.
He was embarrassed.
Oh, interesting.
He was running away. He was full of fear.
Interesting. I haven't seen that.
You know, if I'm doing something that is not right with you, I'm not gonna be able to look into your eyes.
So I want to be hidden somewhere, somehow.
He was hiding himself in the cave.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same attitude that Adam and Hawa. You know, they knew that they did something wrong against YaHuWaH. And what they did, they hide themselves. And YaHuWaH was speaking to them, where are you? And they were hiding. They didn't want to talk to Elohim because they were embarrassed of what they did. Most probably this is exactly what happened to Eliyahu. I can be wrong, but this is what I feel.
Interesting. Interesting. What are you doing here, Eliyahu? And he said, I have been very jealous for YaHuWaH Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughtered places, and they have killed your prophets with the sword. And I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it. Except the same words. He repeat the same. And YaHuWaH said to him, go, return on your way to the...
By the way, we see here in action what some people call the two powers in heaven. He was speaking the word of YaHuWaH came to him when he was in the cave, and he was asking, what are you doing here? And Eliyahu was answering this. Then YaHuWaH appeared in the earthquake, in the fire, and so on, and then with the small voice, the wind, and was asking the same. So different beings, the Father and the Son. And something that I forgot to mention in the example, what we see in the upper room in the book of Acts. You know, the manifestation of the Ruach of Elohim with wind,
earthquake,
with earthquake and fire. So it's opposite. Because they were looking for something. I think, again, as I said before, it will depend on how we are inside us, how he's going to manifest himself. So it doesn't mean that sometimes an earthquake is not him manifesting himself. Sometimes it is. Fire.
He's showing his power.
Yes.
Maybe it's not he himself there. He's not the earthquake, but he's showing his power through it.
Exactly.
And YaHuWaH said to him, Go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and you shall go in and anoint Hazael as sovereign over Aram, and anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, as sovereign over Israel, and anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat, of Abel Meloholah, as prophet in your place. Ooh. And it shall be that whoever escaped the sword of Hazael, Jehu does kill, and whoever escaped from the sword of Jehu, Elisha does kill. So from one king to the other, and then a prophet. So power, and prophet. And I shall leave 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. This sounds like the seal, like they were not sealed with the mark of the beast.
Yes,
and they
exactly.
are reserved.
They were sealed with the name of YaHuWaH in their foreheads.
But why 7?
Why 7,000?
Yeah, because it says 7,000 for Israel, in Israel.
In the house of Israel, in the northern kingdom.
So it should be around 10 tribes.
Yes.
Why 7,000? Well, one no, well, the other Levi was not counted, so I don't know. And he went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yokes of oxen before him. That's also interesting, the 12 flocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he was with the 12. And Eliyahu passed by him and threw his robe on him. I find it so interesting, and it's like funny, like, okay, I'm passing through and I throw him the robe. And he left the oxen and ran after Eliyahu and said, Please, let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I follow you. And he said to him, Go, turn back for what I have done to you. And it's interesting. It's like, I don't know, it's like a game. I don't know if in your country you had that, but when we were little, we used to have a game that it was with a handkerchief, and you were touching some people. And it was funny because it's supposed that you didn't know who was going to receive it or something like that. So I think that it has some relation with maybe this story. Yeah. But he was like saying, what I have done to you. He was throwing the robe, so that means something, that I'm transferring, I'm giving something from me to you. So then said, well, I don't know, maybe it's like because of the permission that he was asking. Maybe it was just for him to reconsider. I have not doing this to you, but it's not the calling from me, it's from somebody else, it's from YaHuWaH. So it's like putting the right perspective and what he wanted to do. And he turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slaughtered them and cooked their flesh using the implements of the oxen and gave it to the people, and they ate. It's like a kind of a miracle, like sharing some dinner to the people who were there.
Yep.
Then he rose up and followed Eliyahu and became his servant.
You know, it's interesting that I was just waiting for you to read it to make the comment. It sounds like YaHuWaH decided to put the next prophet, Elisha, to complete the work that originally was meant for Eliyahu.
Or maybe he needed a support.
No, because if you read this situation, is that basically how YaHuWaH was bringing justice and righteousness after let me go back. YaHuWaH was sending Eliyahu to bring righteousness, because YaHuWaH sent Eliyahu after the draw to go and speak to Ahab and to gather the people of the house of Israel. And he was challenging the people for how long you are going to hold between two opinions. If YaHuWaH is Elohim, serve him. If this one is Elohim, follow them. So he was bringing justice, righteousness, and that's why he slew the prophets of Baal, because the people realized that YaHuWaH was Elohim. what was happening next is to bring more righteousness. But what happened with Eliyahu? He ran away because he was full of fear. And after that, what was the word of YaHuWaH and the commandment for him? Go and anoint this one.
Who is going to be
and
your successor.
use Elisha, that's going to be a prophet in your place.
Yeah.
Same. And this one is going to kill and bring righteousness. And if they are not falling with the sword of this one, it's going to be with this one. And if this one is not, it's going to be with the third one.
With the one that is going to replace you.
Yes. What's the point that I want to make is that, and we can look at it with two angles. The first angle is that if our heart is not prepared to do the entire will of YaHuWaH, He's not going to wait for us. He's going to find somebody else.
Yeah, who is prepared and who is
willing
prepared to do.
So we need to, if we are going to follow Him, we need to follow Him completely. And we need to remove any fear from us. Because if we don't do it, we are going to lose our opportunity. If we connect this what is written in the book of Revelation, is that we need to retain what we have. If not, we can lose our crown. So how we can lose that is because of fear, we're not gonna complete the assignment we have received. So this is the first angle, and this is a warning for all of us, is that we need to keep ourselves enduring until the end. If we don't endure until the end with the assignment we have received, somebody else will complete it and not us. This is one way to see it. The second angle that we can see it is with the eyes of compassion of YaHuWaH. He saw that Eliyahu was with fear. He saw that Eliyahu was tired. He was the only one fighting with this system, this evil system. And he was tired. He was in fear. Because of compassion, he decided, okay, you won't complete the task. It's going to be somebody else. So go ahead, and that's why he sent him to anoint more people to continue with the task. So it could be a combination of the two ways to see it. YaHuWaH is always going to see our condition if we are prepared to complete something. And He's not going to push us to do something that we are not prepared to.
Yeah, that's true.
If we are willing to do something that we are not prepared to, He's going to empower us and prepare us for that assignment. But if we are not opening our hearts and seeking to be prepared, He's going to be compassionate on us. He's not going to send you to some places where you are going to be persecuted because maybe you are not prepared for that. Through the persecution, you can be lost. You can go astray and completely detach you from the way of YaHuWaH. So He's not going to allow that for you. And maybe this is exactly what's going on with Eliyahu. Okay? But also in the other way around, if we are stubborn and we don't want to do what we have been assigned to do, we are going to lose our opportunity. So that's why we need to be so careful. That's why we need to pray all the time to understand what YaHuWaH wants from us.
Sometimes we are our worst enemies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why the fight is inside. We need to be one inside and outside. Denying ourselves, praying all the time to YaHuWaH, expressing what's going on inside. The only one that knows what's going on in your heart is you
and
Him. And He's waiting for us to speak in truth, expressing what's going on inside. Because if we're expressing with our mouth and with our words what's going on, we're being truthful to Him, and He's waiting for us to be truthful. And we are speaking the truth to Him. He's bringing healing. And He's bringing not only healing, He's bringing His expanded willing. for the situation, because we are servants. And if we are not prepared for the service he was assigning us to the beginning, he will tell us, and he will find somebody else that we can put the robe of coverage. So you can understand you are under my coverage so far, because this is exactly what happened with Elisha or Elisha. He was under the coverage of Eliyahu, and that's why I think he put the robe, he threw the robe somehow as a kind of signal that now you are under my coverage. Come with me. I think that was the explanation of my way to see it, of what was going on here. Now about the oxen, this is really interesting. You know,
The 12.
it's 12.
And it says, and he was
plowing.
with the 12. That like it was like I don't know. It was like making to remember about Mashiach and how he was with the 12 when he was dining, when he was preaching, and everything. He was with the 12.
Yes. It's like, you know, it's like running with the post. So now I'm getting this. You take this one, you continue. So it's assignment. Assignment, not because Eliyahu decided, because he was fulfilling what YaHuWaH was telling him. He was not going to pick a prophet according to his will. No, he was following what YaHuWaH was instructing him to do, and giving, as Karen wrote there, the mantle of a prophet over the person, the man that YaHuWaH shows. Not anybody, not whoever. It's specifically what YaHuWaH decided. So yeah, I think the 12 is a representation of the 12 tribes. It's a representation even of the 12 disciples. And the only fact that he took the implements is like, I think for me it's a picture of sometimes what we were discussing with Angela and Luis.
It has.
We have a task, we have some abilities, we have a job. In this case, okay, I'm gonna use what I have, I'm gonna give it to you as an offering.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use everything that the implements of my work, I'm gonna give it up to you as an offering, because now I'm going to serve you. I'm going to continue your way. I'm going to dedicate my time to you.
So now the use that they have is completely different. It's for YaHuWaH.
Correct. You know, the oxen and the implement, he offered it up to YaHuWaH. It's like my time, my abilities, my skills, I'm offering up to you, and it's yours.
In the past, it was used for, I don't know, working the soil, but now is to prepare this dinner or meal, and that was shared with the people.
And you know, in this one, what he's saying, please let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I follow you, is similar to the man that came to the Messiah.
Yeah.
And what was the answer from Yahushua? Let the dead to bury the dead.
No, that is the other one. But when somebody was telling, let me go and say bye, and he said, follow me. It was that he was there.
Yeah.
It was like, what is the most important at that point? So it takes on.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to chapter 20.
Your turn.
Yeah, it's 43 verses, so we will try to go to a point. Okay, let's see. It says in the verse 1, and Ben-Hadad, the sovereign of Aram, gathered all his army, and there were 32 sovereigns with him, with horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Shamaron, and fought against it. And he sent messengers into the city to Ahab, sovereign of Israel, and said to him, thus said Ben-Hadad, your silver and your gold are mine, and your wives and children, the best, are mine. And the sovereign of Israel answered and said, as you say, my master, O sovereign, I am yours, and all that I have.
So they were given all the power to this. They were putting all the reign under this other kingdom.
How, and maybe it's an attitude. Because if we connect to what we were talking about, the relationship between him and Isabel, he was used to surrender under the control of somebody else. When in the order that YaHuWaH has established, the way that he's saying, I am yours, he needed to say to YaHuWaH, YaHuWaH, I'm yours, I belong to you. And he's saying, no, I'm almost a servant. I'm your slave. So, and he was used to that.
He could have said, okay, let's do a covenant. I don't know, make a treat or something. But he was like completely giving everything away.
Yeah, exactly. So, if we consider this in our situation, how often people, and not only people, how often situations put us in this scenario where we are surrendering ourselves to the ownership of that situation that is putting a trap for us, that we are saying, maybe not verbally, but with our actions and our decisions, that I am yours. All that I have is yours. I am your disposal, at your disposal. Instead of understanding it's wrong. It's wrong. Our attitude is that I belong to YaHuWaH. Understanding the order of things.
Could it be like a representation, or maybe something similar to what is going to happen at the end times? That a lot of people are going to provide all the power to everything to the anti-Mashiach, to be under the control of somebody else?
Yes, could be. Could be. I think it is also a picture, that this big army is coming, and this is stronger than me,
and it's now with horses, chariot, and everything. And if you see, always horses and chariots are compared to things that are really quick, speeding up.
Yes.
And what we can see now, the way that we are living, is the perfect reflection of that.
Correct.
Every process, every work, everything is now. What are the purpose of every company, or do all the things that you used to do in the past, but with a very short period of time.
Absolutely.
So this is what we offer you.
And everything is connected, actually. This one is a perfect example of what we were talking about, sin. The one that we were reading, the curse over the woman. What happened with Cain, and also the relationship between the spirit of Isabel and Ahab, is exactly the same here. It's how sin acts. It's at the door. He wants to rule over us. He wants to control us, but we need to rule over it. And what's going on here, and that's why it's a mindset, it's an attitude, it's totally the opposite. In this case, Ben Hadad is the enemy, is sin. And he's coming to us, your silver, your gold, everything that belongs to you, even you, is mine. You are under my control. And instead of ruling over that, what was the attitude of Ahab? Yes, my master, I'm yours, and everything that is mine is yours. Instead of ruling over it.
Where it says 32 sovereign, it's like 32 bits.
It could be. And let me say something in addition. And I heard a video this morning of a lady saying something similar. Is that what it means to rule over it when we are weaker physically than the other? Because I can easily say, if I put myself in the shoes of Ahab, and I see this big army that is destroying and besieging the city, and I'm going to rule over it, my eyes are showing me something totally different. So again, it's an attitude. It's a decision. It's an internal decision. It's an attitude of our hearts. Is that even I'm going to lose my life. Even if I'm going to lose my life, because this is what I see with my eyes. If I put myself in that situation, that I'm going to rule over it, and I'm not going to accept it, that most probably this is going to end up on me losing my life, so it be. Because I'm following the path, I'm following the truth. I'm not gonna let this to push me astray of the way that I know that I have to follow. You know, if this is the true path is showing me that I need to rule over it, and ruling over it, it means that I'm going to lose my life, so it be. I'm not gonna decline, I'm not gonna go astray, I'm not gonna depart from the truth. That's the attitude. Even though that maybe we see something that's going to attempt toward our own life, because it's better to lose our life,
the temporary one, and not to lose the eternal life.
Lose the eternal life in the kingdom. So, and again, this is a decision, this is a mindset. And in a recurring way, this is happening to us all the time. When problems arise, you know, the problems sometimes, though they have some physical consequences that we can see, that we can hear. The most difficult consequences and the most difficult battle on the troubles that we are facing is happening inside us, in our dialogue, internal dialogue, in what is our attitude toward the situation, what are our decisions toward the situation, if we are going to be under the control of the situation, or we are going to rule over the situation. And ruling over the situation, it means that we are not going to rule ourselves over the situation. We are going to let YaHuWaH through us to rule over the situation, because it's not by power, not by might, it's by the Ruach of Elohim, always. But it's an attitude, it's a decision, an internal decision that we need to make. So it could be in the last days, in the latter days, during persecution, during great tribulation. It could be now. How come we are going to be able to endure until the end during the great tribulation if we are not learning the right mindset now in the small things? When we, you know, and I think we have been discussing this for a while in different moments. Through tribulations and through problems is how YaHuWaH is preparing us. He's making us stronger. And let me put it in a different way. If we are going to rule the nations, how we are going to rule the nations if we are not able to suffer things, if we are not able to understand things, how we are going to guide people in right rulings if we have not gone through situations. It's much difficult to help people when we have not gone through the experiences. And this is written even about Mashiach. He came here, he suffered even death, he suffered persecution, he suffered mockery, and a lot of things. And that's why he's able to understand us, because he experienced in his own life what it means. So in order for us to rule nations, in order for us to be part of the restoration of right rulings and righteousness in the world, we need to learn through our own experiences, and the way that in his mercy, in the way that we are able to learn that in our own experiences is through the difficulties we have to go through life. And that's why, you know, in that moment is when we need to learn what is the right mindset. If we are not able, and connected to what I said at the beginning, if we are not able to learn the mindset in those little situations, a little, I mean, compared to the biggest things, because when we're going through those situations, sometimes we don't feel it little, we feel it very heavily. That's true. But if we're not able to learn in that situation, how we are going to be able to Endure until the end when the big things are coming. So it's time now for us to learn. I know it's difficult. All of us are going through difficulties. All of us are going through that internal fight and internal dialogue, that sometimes in that internal dialogue, all the time actually, when is the moment of decision, and sometimes we are deciding wrongly. We are not ruling over the situation. We are letting the situation to rule over us, and that is not helping us in order to learn the right mindset, the mindset of the Messiah, Mashiach. So this is the perfect example. He didn't learn in the past because he let the Ruach of Isabel to rule over him. It came, the anti-Messiah, a figure of the anti-Messiah, Ben-Hadad, in the example that you were giving. And he was surrendering himself because he didn't learn the attitude and the mindset that YaHuWaH is with us. Let's continue. So it says in the 5, and the messengers came back and said, thus speaks Ben-Hadad, saying, indeed I have sent to you, saying, give me your silver and your gold, your wives and your children. But about this time tomorrow, I shall send my servants to you, and they shall search your house and the houses of your servants. And it shall be that whatever is pleasing in your eyes, they shall lay hold and take it. Wow.
So everything that is important to us.
But when I was reading it, it just came to my mind when Yahushua was speaking about the evil spirits, that the evil spirits go to the desert places and they come back with 7 worse spirits than him and go into the house, and the last situation of the house of that man is going to be worse. So he is saying, okay, I told you that I'm going to take everything, but now I'm going to send messengers that are going to get in, and they're going to take everything that you love. So when we are not ruling over a situation, we are opening doors for evil messengers to get in and to take everything, to take control, full control. It's not that we are going to lose things. It's even worse. We are going to be under the full control of the situation. So timing is so important. If we don't stop evil with the right mindset and with the Ruach of Elohim in one specific time, we are opening the door for situations to get worse. That doesn't mean that in the mercy and the compassion and the love of YaHuWaH that we can get out of the situation even if we rule over the situation in the right time. For sure, he will open the doors and he will save us if we look and we seek him with all our hearts. But he's also teaching us that there is time for everything. That's what is written in Kohelet. There is time for everything.
And there is a limit for his faith.
Correct. So we need to be so careful with our eyes open, our ears open, that when we are in a situation, that we are ruling over the internal dialogue and surrendering ourselves to YaHuWaH. So we are keeping the door closed for any evil spirit that wants to rule over us. And the spiritual battle is fierce in these times, and it's becoming even more difficult. So that's why we need to be so conscious of the timing and not surrender ourselves to those situations and to those evil spirits. Okay? So it says in the verse 7, and the sovereign of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, please now know and see the evil this one is seeking. For he sent to me for my wives and for my children and for my silver and for my gold, and I did not refuse him. So he's recognizing that he made a mistake by not refusing, by not ruling over the situation. And all the elders and all the people said to him, do not listen nor agree. So at least he's seeking, in this moment he realized, okay, that I made a mistake. He's seeking counsel. Okay. So he said to the messengers of Ben-Hadad, say to my master the sovereign, all that you send for to your servant the first time I shall do. And this is also righteousness somehow, because
He
I
already
gave my word. I cannot go against what I said. It's a kind of an oath. But this I am unable to do. So what I'm asking you the second, I'm not going to do it. And the messengers went and brought back word to him. And Ben-Hadad sent to him and said, the mighty ones do so to me, and more also, if enough dust is left of Shomeron for a handful for each of the people who follow me. You know, the wording is very similar to what Isabel said to Eliyahu.
Yeah.
You know, the mighty ones do so to me, and more also. It's exactly what Isabel said. So we can see evil spirits in the two examples, in the two the two people. And actually this is really interesting, because we said that the Isabel is a kind of foreshadow of the Mystery Babylon. And this one, as you said, and I think it's true, is a foreshadow of the beast, the anti-Messiah. And both using exactly the same wording. Okay? And the sovereign of Israel answered and said, speak. Him who girds on his armor should not boast like him who lays it down. And it came to be, when this word was heard, and he and the sovereigns were drinking in the booths, that he said to his servants, set yourselves. So they set themselves against the city. So battle began. And you know what's the interesting? How the battle began? With the sword immediately?
No, drinking.
But before that? With words.
Yeah, they were
with
communicating.
The mouth,
they were agreeing.
speaking. So that's why when we talk about the sword,
it's what we speak.
And this is something we are in the verse 12. If I didn't mention it, I'm going to mention it. Let's go back to the chapter 19, verse 1. It says also how he slew all the prophets with the sword. It is written in the book of Revelation that YaHuWaH
has a sword.
is having a sword that is coming from his mouth.
Yeah.
So the sword
is what he's talking about.
happened in the study about the two-edged sword, but it's connected to the words speaking, our voice, our words. What Eliyahu did, he was speaking, he was fighting with the word, with the sword of the mouth, with the words, and then with the physical one. So it is really interesting when we go back here.
Yeah.
Ruling over the situation is with the voice, with our words, what we say. You know, and the tongue is a little instrument, but it's so powerful that it's dominating the entire body, written in the book of James, in the book of Jacob.
It could kill, destroy, and it could
So how, if we ask ourselves how we are going to rule over a situation? Speaking up. You know, all our internal dialogue is with our thoughts. Maybe when we are going to begin the spiritual battle, we need to speak. We need to speak loudly to ourselves. That's the way we are going to be ruled, because we are initiating the battle, and we sit here, initiating the battle with words, sending messengers, telling this, I'm not gonna tell you this. They bring this one, they send threats, okay, and he sent threats back, and then when they receive it, because they were drinking, they were preparing themselves for the physical battle. Okay? So it's so important, used in a righteous way. Our voice, our mouth, our words are so important. It's part of the sword that we have received. So 12. Thank you. So it came to be, when this word was heard, I read the 12. So it says, and see, a prophet came near to Ahab, sovereign of Israel, saying, thus said YaHuWaH, have you seen all this great company? See, I am giving it into your hand today, and you shall know that I am YaHuWaH. And before continuing, this is really interesting, because Ahab was totally departed from the true way. That's why YaHuWaH sent Eliyahu. But even though in this situation, in the distress that he was going through, YaHuWaH sent a servant with a promise to save him. How do you understand that?
Because I think that he doesn't want us to be lost. He wants everybody to see and to know that he is the one who has the power. And he wants to show us the right way.
He's so compassionate, and I see him in the same way. He's giving opportunities. By sending Eliyahu, he's giving an opportunity to Ahab to repent. By sending this situation with Ben-Hadad, he's giving an opportunity for him to repent. And now he's giving an additional opportunity for him to repent and to believe in YaHuWaH.
That's why it was saying at the beginning, it says when YaHuWaH was telling to Eliyahu, if one is not being killed by the king of Aram, he's going to be killed by the sword of the king of Israel. If not, it's going to be killed by the prophet. So it's kind of having some opportunities. We are being tested, but just to be taken back to the right path.
Absolutely. So he continues saying, and Ahab said, by whom? And he said, thus said YaHuWaH, by the young rulers of the provinces. And he said, who opens the tag? Then he answered, you. So it's so beautiful, YaHuWaH using a prophet to bring specific answers to specific questions. And we have been talking in the past about this. We need to be so specific when we talk to him. If we want to have a specific answer, we need to have a specific question. There are closed questions and open questions. Do you know what are the open questions?
The open
question are usually begins with the what, the how, the when, where. So when you open,
the answer could be anything.
Yes, because you are not specific. What happened? That's a question. You can go through the bushes and speak and say what happened at this time.
Or are you the person?
Exactly.
Yes or no?
So it's more specific. Those are the close questions that we need to ask YaHuWaH specific ones. Okay? So, and he mastered the young rulers in the verse 15 of the provinces, and there were 232. And after them, he mastered all the people and all the children of Israel, 7,000.
The one that he said.
Yes. And they went out at noon, while Ben-Hadad and the 32 sovereigns helping him were getting drunk in the woods. So, we need to be sober all the time.
Yeah.
And the young rulers of the provinces went out first, and Ben-Hadad sent out, and they reported to him, saying, men have come out of Shomeron. Then he said, and they're not sober, they were drunk. Then he said, if they have come out for peace, seize them alive. And if they have come out for battle, seize them alive. So he won them alive in any case. Okay. So these young rulers for the provinces went out of the city with the army, which followed them. And Ish struck his men, so the Arameans fled, and Israel pursued them. And Ben-Hadad, the sovereign of Aram, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. So, the battle belongs to YaHuWaH. He decides how he's going to win a battle, how he's going to fight the battle. A small group of people that were coming from nowhere, from the provinces. They were not part of the army. And they were the one opening the attack and winning the battle. So it's like what we were discussing before the broadcast. YaHuWaH sometimes works in the hidden. When we sow the seed and we put soil to cover it, we don't see what's going on. The seed, when we water the seed, it's going to start growing, and we are not going to be able to see it until it's springing up and it's growing. And even when we see the seed, we are not able to understand what type of plant or tree it is until it's grown, and we will see what type of plant or tree is. So in this case, just following the example, sometimes we don't know how we are going to win a battle. We don't know, and we believe that we don't have the strength to rule over a situation. We don't see how we are able to do it. But when we surrender ourselves to YaHuWaH, to whom we really belong, He's going to do things maybe in ways that we are not common sense to us. He is going to do it in such a way that we don't understand and we don't believe, or from places that we don't expect from. And this is exactly, what we see happening. He's bringing a new opportunity to have with people that were not even prepared. Maybe they were not known to him, and they were the one winning the battle. Just to show that, is YaHuWaH is in power and He's in control of everything. And that should be our attitude, that the understanding that this is the way YaHuWaH works. Every time that we are not in control of the situation, that we decide not to be in control, trying to solve it by ourselves. It's just to let Him solve it. Let Him to be in control through us. He's going to bring from nowhere help to win the battle, to give us the strength that maybe is not us, maybe with somebody else that is going to come to us and to help us to solve the situation. Is YaHuWaH doing it?
And usually it's a surprise, and a big surprise.
Yes, actually it is. So let's continue, verse 21. The sovereign of Israel went out and struck the horses and chariots and struck the Arameans a great smiting. And the prophet came to the sovereign of Israel and said to him, Go, strengthen yourself, and know and see what you should do. For at the turn of the year, the sovereign of Aram is coming up against you.
So he gave him 1 year.
Exactly. And the servants of the sovereign of Aram said to him, Their mighty ones are mighty ones of the hills. That is why they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain. Are we not stronger than they? So this is, exactly the mindset of the enemy. And sometimes it's our mindset. That we work according to what we see instead of according to our emunah, or faith. Now do this, take away the sovereigns, each from his position, and put officers in their places. And number an army like the army that you have lost, horse for horse and chariot for chariot, and let us fight against them in the plain. Are we not stronger than they? And he listened to their voice and did so. So maybe, we are going to win a fight. But it doesn't mean that maybe later on, we are not going to face a new challenge. That's the way it is. And we know this situation. So the same message that the prophet is saying to the king here, they are coming in 1 year from now. Prepare yourself. Now is the time of decision. Now is the time to set your mindset in the proper way. Now is the time for you to prepare yourself for the coming battle. And the coming battle is not going to happen in the hills. It's going to happen in a different scenario. It's the same type of battle.
It's more positive for us.
It's the same battle, but it's in a different place. It's a different circumstances. It's a different situation. So that's why we need to be prepared all the time with the right mindset. Not to let this rule over us, is to prepare ourselves with the mindset in order to endure until the end, understanding that if YaHuWaH is with us, nothing else can be against us. And it came to be in the 26th, at the turn of the year, that Ben-Hadad mustered the Arameans and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. And just to complete the previous thought, it's exactly what we were remembering about this word of Mashiach, talking about the evil spirits. Evil spirits were cast out of person. So, okay, that battle was won. But that doesn't mean that it cannot come back. Yeah. It's not the end.
They're going to return with more support.
With more support and more stronger, and the battle is going to be even more fierce. So that's why we need to, in the same way that we know already that those battles are coming back, is the time for us to get strong. Let's put our lift in order to get some muscle, spiritual muscle, in order to fight back and to be prepared. And the children of Israel in the 27 were mastered and were fed. And they went against them, and the children of Israel encamped before them like two little flocks of goats, while the Arameans filled the land. Wow! Unbelievable. And there came near a man of Elohim and spoke to the sovereign of Israel and said, Thus said YaHuWaH, because the Arameans have said, YaHuWaH is Elohim of the hills, but he is not Elohim of the valleys. Therefore I shall give all this great company into your hand, and you shall know that I am YaHuWaH. So, it's for his name's sake. For sure, he's giving more opportunities to Ahab, but also he wants to establish his name among the world.
And he's showing everybody.
What do you think is going to happen now that people are mocking so much? People are believing, saying Elohim doesn't exist. We can somehow it's connected to what we see here. No, this one is Elohim of the valleys. That's why they were able. Now it's even worse. There's no Elohim. All of these are the fables and
inventions
stories
for weak people.
Correct. So if YaHuWaH was doing this because of his namesake, what he's going to do in our times, and we know what he's going to do in our times. It is written what's going to happen, and I think we are seeing what's happening, and we'll see even more things happening in the coming days. So I'm gonna do it because of my name's sake, basically. And also for you to know that I am YaHuWaH.
And everybody knows.
Yes. So, and they encamped opposite each other for 7 days. And it came to be that on the 7th day the battle was joined. And the children of Israel struck 100,000 to foot soldiers of the Arameans in 1 day. Wow. Strength is not physical strength. Spiritual strength if YaHuWaH is with us. And those that were left fled to Aphek into the city, and a wall fell on 27,000 of the men who were left. And Ben-Hadad fled and went into the city, into an inner room. And his servant said to him, See, now, we have heard that the sovereigns of the house of Israel are lovingly committed sovereigns. Please let us put sackcloth around our waists and robes around our heads, and go out to the sovereign of Israel. It could be that he spares your life. So they wanted to humble themselves. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put robes around their heads, and came to the sovereign of Israel and said, Your servant Ben-Hadad said, Please let me live. And he said, Is he still alive? He is my brother. And the men divined, and they quickly grasped it and said, Your brother Ben-Hadad. And he said, Go bring him. Go. So Ben-Hadad came out to him, and he let him come up on the chariot. And Ben-Hadad said to him, The cities which my father took from your father I return. Set up marketplaces for yourself in Damascus, as my father did in Shomeron. And I have said, I send you away with this covenant. And he made a covenant with him and sent him away. So he pardoned his life. And this is a kind of difficult to see it, especially with the people, with the current social justice that people looking for. So if you made a mistake and you're coming to me, I'm going to pardon you. But what happened if YaHuWaH was deciding something different? I'm going to go against the word of YaHuWaH because of my own feelings or my own decisions. I'm putting myself in the place of Elohim if I'm doing that, right? So this is exactly what's happening in this story. So again, it was for the sake of the name of YaHuWaH that he was going to destroy these people. And if we put and understand this in the foreshadow, as we discussed, that this is a representation somehow of the anti-Messiah, is the one leading astray everyone, is the one that wants to control everything, is the one that is not allowing the righteousness to fill the earth, is the one pushing on idolatry. So we want to pardon the life.
Mm.
I think that that's basically the point here. So it says in the 35, and a certain man of the sons of the prophet said to his neighbor by the word of YaHuWaH, strike me, please. But the man refused to strike him. Then he said to him, because you have not obeyed the voice of YaHuWaH, see, as soon as you leave me, a lion shall strike you. And when he left him, a lion found him and struck him. You see, YaHuWaH works in
very mysterious ways.
Mysterious ways. And we will see why the word of YaHuWaH came and asked for this. Because it's in order to put the scenario to bring a kind of a parable for the king to understand. But if you're coming to me and tell me, the word of YaHuWaH told me that you have to strike me, please strike me. Maybe I'm going to react in the same way.
How I'm going to do it?
Yes.
How you're going to do it?
And maybe I'm going to do it. Finally, please, finally. I was waiting for this moment. But it's difficult, how? I'm going to trust on what you're saying. But, this is the mysterious ways of YaHuWaH. If you're coming to me saying, this is the word of YaHuWaH, it's not my decision. I'm acting because you're asking me. And, because we are not obeying,
that something worse could happen.
Worse things will happen. Okay? So, in the 37, and he found another man and said, strike me, please. So the man struck him, striking and wounding. Then the prophet went and waited for the sovereign by the way, and disguised himself by a bandage on his eyes. And as the sovereign passed by, he cried out to the sovereign and said, your servant went out into the midst of the battle. And this is a kind of parable.
Yeah, but it's a lie, so it's difficult to understand.
It works in mysterious ways again. That's why we need to be so open, we need to be so attentive to understand what's going on.
What is the final purpose?
You remember what happened with the story of David? And
Bathsheba.
And Nathan, the prophet, came and he put a story in front of them about the sheep. That, the one came that has a huge flock, but came and took the sheep of this one that was having only one.
So with the idea that the other one can think about the situation that he's seeing right now, and he can make a decision. So
and I think, as we said before today, YaHuWaH looks into our hearts, our thoughts, and our situation, current situation. He looks in the way that we are going to be able to receive a message. How he's going to speak to us. So to open the hearts. So that's why, he's working in mysterious ways, because it's the only way. He knows that it's the only way that I'm going to be able to see what's going on. It happened with the story of David, and I think it's going to happen in this story as well. So your servant went out in the midst of the battle, and see, a man came over and brought a man to me and said, guard this man. If he should in any way be missing, your life shall be for his life, or else you shall pay a talent of silver. So they gave me this man in order to take care of him. If I'm not taking care of him and he's missing, it's going to be my life, and so on. Okay? And it came to be, while your servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the sovereign of Israel said to him, your judgment is right. You yourself have decided. Then he quickly removed the bandage from his eyes, and the sovereign of Israel recognized him as one of the prophets. Wow. And he said to him, thus said YaHuWaH, because you have let slip out of your hand a man whom I put under the ban. Therefore, your life shall go for his life, and your people for his people.
It's like the story of Shaul when he pardoned the other sovereign's life, remember? That he has to kill him.
Yes.
And then YaHuWaH decided this is a man who goes under his own heart, as he's not going to follow me. And that's why he decided to look for David.
Correct.
Later.
And there are so many stories in the scripture in similar situations, or similar decisions actually, in different type of stories,
when
but
we
similar
apply
decisions.
What we think that is the
right ruling, instead of applying the right ruling
that
of
he is commanding.
What happened with what's the name of in the book of Joshua? Oh, I forgot his name. But when they went to Jericho, and they were commanded, because everything was under the ban, and he took silver and put it under his own tent. And they were receiving a plague. And Joshua ben Nun, or Yahushua ben Nun, was guided in order to understand
and to arrive to the
and he suffered, his family. So it's exactly the same thing. If YaHuWaH has given a commandment and we are not following completely because we are applying our own right ruling and our own righteousness, things will happen. That's why we need to learn right ruling. We need to learn to listen to his voice, and we need to complete the assignment till the end in order to follow him.
He knows the details and the reason, the whys. We need to be obedient.
Yes. And it says, and the sovereign of Israel went to his house embittered and displeased and came to Shomerah. So interesting story. Interesting story is that just connected to everything else that we have said so far. Sometimes we surrender ourselves and we allow. We don't remove things completely from within us, and we allow little things to remain. In this case, Ahab allowed his brother, and the other one, what happened with the message? They saw he called him his brother, so they used the same attitude and mindset of Ahab against him, because they began to call him, yes, your brother Ben-Hadad. So that attachment, they use it against their own, against the half. So sometimes we are so attached to certain situations that we allow things to continue. We allow those attachments to continue hurting us. Maybe we are not going to see it at the beginning. And YaHuWaH has put somehow a situation to remove completely certain situations from within us, and we continue being attached to those situations.
And we are the ones that are not progressing.
Correct.
Because we are not following his instruction.
You see, to put it simple, Ahab was from the house of Israel, was completely in idolatry under the control of the Israel. That was the worst of the worst. And they were departed completely from YaHuWaH. YaHuWaH was giving him opportunities. And even in this opportunity, he's removing the battle and winning the battle for him. But he needed to complete everything. But he was keeping the attachment to certain things. That's why Yahushua, and we talked about this last week, I think, when he was saying, if your hand is making you go astray, cut it off. It's to remove everything.
And now you can see that why YaHuWaH made this covenant with Abraham. Because I think that he was the only one who was able to commit to something that was asked for him. Like killing even his own son is something really difficult. But he was willing to do it if it was YaHuWaH who was telling him. And this is a very hard situation. And all the world today are using that situation like the weakness of a man, how he can do such a thing. But it was YaHuWaH is expecting from us. Maybe he's not going to complete it, but he wants to know if your heart is so obedient that is willing to do what he's going to request.
It's something really interesting to what you said. And I was thinking, and this is applicable to many situations, is that YaHuWaH needs to work with us first individually. He needs to remove everything that is wrong from us first. And he's not going to remove everything at once. It's like Israel. I'm not going to remove all the beasts and all the animals or all these great nations at once.
Because they're going to be very.
It could be even worse for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it little by little. And this is the way that he's doing with us. But the point is that how come we are going to be able to remove something externally or from somebody else if we are not prepared even to remove our own things? In the example of what we just read, who won the battle? It was Ahab or the young leaders? It was the young leaders. Ahab was not prepared yet in his heart. And even because he was not prepared in his heart, he allowed Ben-Hadad to remain alive when he was under the ban. So that's why, it's so important that we make progress and we use every opportunity we have in life, all the experiences he has pushing us to go through in our own advantage, to grow in maturity, in righteousness, in right ruling. Because that's the only way, as I said at the very beginning, when we go through situations in our own experience, we're going to be able to be fully fit and prepared to help others, because we already know what it means to go through it. We already have learned the righteousness. We have already ruled over the situation. But if our heart is not ready, how come he's going to use it in an even mightier way? It's not going to be possible because we are not allowing him to teach us and to prepare us.
Yeah.
Good, you see?
Yeah.
Feeling good, better?
Yeah, much better. YaHuWaH was helping us to.
Lillian was very, very
It was the first time, and
it was the first,
but it was the first time.
Uh-huh.
It was the first.
She was telling me, but I feel so bad because we didn't prepare anything, and I was pushing her. You see what it feels. I have been telling her so many times. I have not read, but and she's telling me, but you need to trust. He's going to speak. It was her time now.
Yeah.
But the YaHuWaH is so good that he's always speaking and giving words and opening eyes in order to understand his word. So we really hope that this study has been a blessing.
Yeah.
Has blessed me.
Yeah, me too.
You too?
And I feel that he is blessed. He has been blessing you too. He is among everybody else. We have to remember, he said, well, two of you are there. I'm going to be there among you, protecting you, fighting the fight for you.
Yes. So meditate on everything we have been sharing. Again, we didn't prepare anything. It's just letting the Ruach speak through us. And believe me, there are many things that kept me thinking in my own struggles and situations on what we spoke about. And that's why, is the way to grow together. Is just to let the words that the Ruach is bringing to all of us in our hearts is to meditate on that and to see how to improve, how to walk in a way of perfection. We know that the day of perfection is coming together with the hand of Yahushua in the day he's coming back. But we need to push forward in the way in order to grow, in order to be mature, in order to be prepared for the assignments. So was talking to me a lot on what we were discussing. So we really hope that it has been a blessing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you to everybody. Yeah, all of you.
Yes, and then we will take a look in the chat later because we need to fit two small kids and a young lady. So they're waiting for us to have lunch. So thank you so much for joining us. We are going to finish as always with a song. I like this one. The spirit of this song is so beautiful. So I really hope that you are going to like it and keep spreading the light to more people. And we hope to see you next week.
Yeah.
So have a blessed Shabbat, a blessed week. See you hopefully next week. Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.
אשיר על אדוני כי גאור סוס ורוחבו רמה בים בכוח ימינו אדוני, כי גאול גאל, סוס ורוכבו רמה, וים בכוח ימינו.
עוזי בזמרת ים, ויהי לי לישועה, אלוהי אבי, מרומם אותך.
על כל הניסים שעשית לנו אבא, ועל הנפלאות שעוד תעשה.
ברכה נטויה, שלא קצרה מלהושיע, תן לנו לראות, יושב בתהילות.
לא לנו כי לך, לך המלחמה, ראינו מה קורה כשאתה מתערב.
לך הניצחון, לך כל הגבורה, אם איננו נשואות, שרים לך תודה.
על כל הניסים שעשית לנו אבא, ועל הנפלאות שעוד תעשה.
ברכה נטויה, שלא קצרה מלהושיע, תן לנו לראות, על כל הניסים שעשית לנו אבא, ועל הנפלאות שעוד תעשה. ברכה נטויה, שלא קצרה מלהושיע, אבל תן לנו לראות, יושב בתהילות.
לא וחי, לא וכוח, כי אם ברוח אדוני צבאות, לא נראה, נמשיך לפתוח, שומר הברית, מקיים ההבטחות. לא וחי, לא וכוח, כי אם ברוח אדוני צבאות,